Commercials and the ads. Campaigns are heating up. Here's Scott Mitchell with a look at the hot races in today's Your Vote Count.
It's hot outside and it's heating up around these legislative races. Colby Schwartz in today. Good to have you here, Representative. Hey, Impact Team tonight going to be talking about this so-called ban, this often repeated ban, this 2-year moratorium before you could go to work for the state if you worked for the legislature. I have a feeling that there's some people who've done that before.
Well, they have done that before, both Democrats and Republicans. Lately, it's been more Republicans because they have been in charge for the last basically 6 years. Where the root of this is in Article 5, Section 23 of the state constitution. It says no one will be appointed to a board or commission until 2 years has expired after a legislative term. But the Attorney General came down in 2004 saying it all depends where the money comes from. So they've been paying these legislators with non-appropriated monies, yet their pensions are set, Colby, at the highest salary they receive. The real answer is in Section 10, is where there's another provision a legislature cannot profit from. That's where we need to go to stop it.
And I guess, Colby, the question is what difference does it make? I mean, there's been much ado about this for the last couple of months, but when it gets right down to what's really real to people, does it make any difference, really?
Well, I think it does. I think the concept behind what is required in the Constitution, and Morissette can talk more about the statutes, he knows better than I do, but is that the people of Oklahoma want to elect a citizen legislature. They want them to go serve their best interests and then return home. They don't want them to feather a nest, possibly prop up a job. What we've seen recently in the last couple of months, possibly set up an opportunity by using their lawmaking power. And I think it does go back, Richard and I both have taken oaths that say that we shall not profit from our positions. And so the question is setting up a future job violating that oath?
You know, they're meeting the letter of the law, but they're violating the spirit of the law, and that's why those provisions.
And sometime we'll talk about lawyers carrying bills. We need to talk about that one at some point. I'm
also opposing tort reform.
That's right. I mean, here's the situation. We've got this Impact Team, which did a story earlier this week about open records, and the man who was really in charge at the time, Senator Stratton Taylor, well, he was the author of the bill. Here's what he had to say to the Impact Team. Take a look.
I think there's no question that if you don't allow citizens the right to communicate on sensitive matters, such as family members having AIDS, possibilities of child abuse or other things, that it would be a mistake.
So, and we had discussions about transparency. Republicans screaming about the Obama health care plan wasn't transparent. And then we had a whole budget process that was not transparent. My question to you is, Colby, how transparent can the legislature be?
Well, I think in regards to comments we just heard, I think there might be a little bit to that. Constituents do contact our offices about sensitive information. Maybe you make exceptions there. I think you make exceptions to possibly members of the legislature, elected officials, and their calendars for certain reasons. But outside of that, I would be completely open to seeing it all open. You know, we do have open meetings at the Capitol. Their committee, you can walk in, you can sit down as the public. This is your government. We should be doing it. However, I think there are some exceptions for certain reasons that we should have it closed off in the legislative process just to an extent.
And Senator Taylor mentioned a couple of them. And you're a big fan of transparency, a big advocate. So how transparent can you be?
Well, I think you can be extremely transparent. Sensitive communications between legislators and constituents and early drafting of bills and that sort of thing needs to be an exception. But the entire legislature is exempt from Title 25, where the Open Meetings Act is set in statute. We should be moving away from those exceptions. We have all kinds of issues at the legislature. Recently, there was some discussion about a video about some pictures being moved. I tried to file a resolution several years ago about the incident where we were going to assign to Dubai to do some of our national security stuff. It was never heard, and it was never drafted and put on the
And I'll
floor.
tell you this, as somebody who serves on those boards, state boards and commissions and whatnot, we mess up open meetings, they come get us.
And there's a criminal part of that statute. I don't need to get into all that, but we need to get rid of that as soon as possible. The total exemption.
Okay, speaking of, this is your favorite topic, Wall Street reform on the front burner. Here's a couple of things. One, you've talked about the crooks and clowns and thieves on Wall Street, number one. But right now, should President Obama be worried about Wall Street reform or JOBS?
You know, I assume that you can walk and chew gum at the same time. There's no reason why you can't do both. I've been harping about for years now the crooks, thieves, and pirates on Wall Street. The gambling casino mentality that was going on Wall, and it's still going on today because no one in Washington, including the president, will not take it serious. But I've also said since he was elected that the number one issue two number one issues were the economy and the two wars that we are fighting overseas. And he didn't get that message. The election elections coming down in November are going to be a referendum on the fact that he didn't take that message clearly, which includes the Wall Street reform and the jobs economy.
And I suppose as Republicans, you like him doing anything but jobs, right?
Well, no, I think your point is, Scott, is right on mark. I mean, it's right now. It's the economy. It's the economy. It's economy. I mean, one of the biggest things threatening our national defense is our national debt. We are ignoring the debt. We are ignoring the economy. It should be jobs. We've looked at what's happened in the Gulf, and with the job losses there we've had across this country. And what we're doing now is we're just trying to take it out on Wall Street once again and make them to be out to be the bad guys.
Okay, we're running short of time, but we are 12 days from the primary. What is the one that you're looking at the most, the hottest race?
I'm going to tell you the hottest race right now is the Republican primary for the Congressional District 5, which Mary Fallon's vacating to run for governor. I spoke with Representative Mike Thompson, our colleague, last night. He still believes there's probably 30% out there undecided. It's going to be very contentious. It'll be every door. It'll be every mail. It'll be every commercial. It's going to be nonstop for the next 10 days. It's one of the critical ones out there, and it really shapes Oklahoma, I think, from our congressional delegation.
And Representative Morissette, what's the race you're looking at?
Well, obviously, it's the governor's race between Attorney General Edmondson and Lieutenant Governor Askins. It's very tight. By the way, before we get off the air, I want to say congratulations to Tinker Air Force Base, the change in command of the 557 Air Control Group. I was out there this morning. It was a wonderful ceremony, and we always need to remember the people that are fighting. It is an air combat unit. We are in combat throughout the world today, and I congratulate them on the change in command.
And the news hadn't been good from Afghanistan this week. We'll think about those families. Back to you.